Welcome, friends. Today I'm going to go over how to do sourdough bread. This is my starter. Normally I keep it right in here, but when you feed your starter, you need to have a clean container to put it back into, and I didn't want to have you watch me wash my deal here, so my jar. So let me take this out. Very good with that. Take the starter, and I'm going to just put it in a separate container to start with, okay? So I'm going to put that in a separate container here. Oh yeah, you going to come over here? Mm-hmm. You checking it out here? Yeah. So, getting all this starter out of here, okay? And then what we're going to do is once I get that out, that jar, you would normally just go wash your jar now that you've got all the starter out there, okay? You would go wash your jar, and then you'd come back with your clean jar. And here we are. This tells me what day did I feed it on. And I'm going to move it over here. Today is Sunday. So we're going to do Sunday, 9 a.m. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to set my scale. And we're going to do for this, we're going to do this in ounces. So we want four ounces of starter. So this is a little, see how good I am with this? Look at that. There it is. Got 1.8 in there now. We got 3.2. Now we just need another 0.8 here. Probably got too much here a little bit, but 4.8. Yeah, that's way too much. There we go. Yeah, this doing good here. 4.1. Close enough. All right. So here we go. Now we got 4.1 in there. I'm gonna reset it. So it's gonna be this. There we go. So 4 ounces of starter, 4 ounces of water. There we go. 4 ounces of water. Then I'm gonna come in and do this little deal here where I kind of just stir it up here. So I'm gonna stir this up. Get down in there and see that? I'm just trying to get it broken down a little bit so it's spread out in the water good.
You're making the little slurry.
The slurry. There we go. Good thing the camera person can add something to the show here, okay? And then, oops, boy, I am loud today. Then I got, let me pull that out. Then I'm doing 4 ounces of flour. So we just get that in there. That's close enough. And we're just going to stir this together now. That is our starter. And this starter can, if you keep it in the fridge, it will, you don't need to feed it again for a week. So this is a weekly deal for me, is every week I'm just
making a new starter.
Making a new starter, taking some of the old and then putting it in for the new here. So this starter that I have here, this is over a year old. So I've had this starter going for a year, which at first you would think that's kind of gross, but it's not. It's totally not.
That's what sourdough is, right?
That's what sourdough is. So getting this all fed good. I want to get all the flour mixed in there. There we go. There we go. So this is ready to go. And now, because I marked my little date, I did it Sunday. Now it's all set. So if I go put it in the fridge and I'm like, what day did I last do it on? There it is, Sunday at 9 a.m. I last fed it. And then I can just put this in the fridge. Now, normally what I'll do here with the starter is I'll take the starter and pull it out for a couple of hours before I'm going to use it, okay? So this is my new starter for next week. And this right here is what they call discard. Now, normally people can throw that away, but this actually, I'm going to use this right here to be the base for my sourdough bread. And I'll use the discard here to make sourdough bread with. Now, you can use the fresh starter that we just had. You could leave that out for 24 hours, let that go to town, and then use a portion of that for your sourdough. But this right here is ready to go. It's ready to work with. And so I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. So check this out. We're gonna go back here and now we're gonna go to grams, okay? So we're going to grams. Now I got my starter in there. Whatever was left of my discard, I'm taking that and I'm gonna go 280 to 300 grams of water. So about a 60% hydration. There we go. 291 is fine, okay? And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put in 500 grams of flour. There we go. And then 10 grams of salt. There we go. 10 grams of salt. I'm going to take that, I'm going to mix it. Now, if I were making pizza dough instead of just a sourdough bread, I'm making a sourdough pizza dough, I would add 10 grams of honey and 15 grams of oil, and I would just throw it right over here into my KitchenAid mixer and mix it up until it's right, and then I'll cut it up. I'll either make 3 dough balls. If I want little 10-inch pizzas, I'll do 3 dough balls. If I want to do the bigger 10, 12-inch pizzas, if I want to do the bigger like 16-inch pie, I'll do 2 dough balls. I'll cut it in half. So you can do a third or a half, and then you got pizza dough. So I'll mix it up every week, whether I'm making bread or I'm making pizza dough. But I want to show you, sourdough bread this week. So the sourdough, I don't do it in the mixer because what I'm trying to do is I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to let it develop. I'm going to mix. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to develop these glutens. And so it's kind of a day project to make sourdough bread. So right now, all I'm trying to do is get all the wet and dry ingredients mixed in here. And then once I do that, then I'll cover it and let it sit for 30 minutes. And then I'll start working it again. And you can see right now, it's like I still have dry flour in here. But it's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be perfect this first one, because all I'm trying to do is mix those ingredients. And you see how I'm stretching this with, I've kind of developed my own technique here with this spatula, where I'm taking the bottom and I'm stretching it out. I'm already starting to develop glutens just by doing that kind of method like that. See how I stretch it over like that? And you can see how it's making into a nice little dough ball. So I've got those all set here. And then I'll just leave the little spatula on there too. I'll cover that up. Now when my grandma used to make bread, she'd make it really when she was mad at my grandpa. And she would just punch and kind of get that out. And my grandpa would come home and smell that bread, and it kind of softened his heart so he could say those very difficult words for a man to say, which are, "I'm sorry." Yeah, he was sorry. And he got some nice bread out of the whole deal. And I think they made up after that. So I'm dedicating this to my mom and my grandma. But that's how you do it there. And I'll cut in a couple more shots so you can see how the dough develops, because I want you to see how it looks before we bake this bread. Bingo, we're back. And check this out. Here's our dough. Now we just let it sit there like for half an hour or an hour. Now look at that. See that? How I'm turning that over? Get that spatula. You can already see some glutens developing there. Look at that. And you can smell the sourdough here in this. Yeah, I'm pretty good with this little spatula here. And I'll just do it like that. Get it over. All right, there we go. She's laughing at me. She thinks I'm not that good at this, but guess what? We got some glutens developing. So we're gonna be back in a little bit. We're gonna do this, I don't know, 10 more times, 5 more times, 3 more times, till I say we're done. 5. All right, we're back. Check this out. Here we go. Now I'm gonna start using my hands And what I'm trying to do here is just stretch this dough out. Get this dough like this. Fold it over. Just really get stretch and fold. Just try to get this dough stretched and fold. And you can see it's starting to get that smooth thing to it there. There we go. Okay. Couple more times, we'll be ready to go. We're back. Hey, an hour later, 2 hours later, who cares? Here we go. Back at it again. Look at that stretch. There we go. Now those are what we call glutens. Get that going there. Get that going there. There we go. Look at that. Look, would you look at that? That's starting. It's still got some rips going, but you want that smooth thing. So that's not ready yet, but that's all we needed to do. So while you're doing that, look at this. Maybe you're making five gallons of soup for later. You know, that's what I'm doing. All right, bye. Well, look at this. We are gonna do this one last time, and this should have all the gluten structure we need here. You see that? Smooth like butter. Smooth like butter. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that right in my little rising basket here. Get some of the flour here. Oh yes. Din, 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 din. Christine says not too much. She doesn't know. There we go. All right. So take this. This thing is ready to go. And what I'm going to do, now you could just put this in the fridge for, I don't know, a day, 2 days, whatever. I'm going to bake this tonight. So, just want to get that all pinched off and everything so that air doesn't escape. Alrighty. Look at that. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna do that. Okay.
What's the parchment paper for?
This is what we're gonna cook it in, right there. But I'm gonna allow this to be our paper over there. So let me, don't like how I got this closed up here. There we go. So I'm just gonna do that, and I'm gonna leave it out to rise. Now, if I put this in the fridge, here's what I do. I throw it in the fridge overnight, and then I get it out in the morning and let it come up to room temperature. Give it a few hours to come up to get that stuff activated again, that sourdough activated again. This way, it's gonna be out at room temperature right now. In a couple hours, that thing's gonna be bloomed up, and then we're gonna just take it, cook it right in there. So, be back in a couple hours. We're ready to bake. Here we are. This has been going at room temperature. And now, let's see what we got here. Look at this. Oh shoot. I do need to do something. I need to put some flour on this dough. Oh God. Got the flour on my dough here. I'm missing steps here. There we go. All right. Okay, let's do this. Boom. I'm gonna flip it. It's gonna go in my pan that just came out of the oven. I gotta score this. Okay. You can watch tons of videos on this, but just trying to make sure I get a good cut here. This is gonna turn into what they call the ear. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when I'm all done here. Put little wheat symbols here. Yeah, you can't hardly see them, I'm thinking on the video, but I'm gonna, you may be able to see them after I bake. All right, my Dutch oven here is hotter than a pistol. It's preheated to 500. So on this end, we're gonna go 20 minutes at 500 degrees. There it is, it's in there. And we're going into the oven. Christine's gotta work. Oh God, let's grab that thing with my bare hands. Okay, 20 minutes at 500, then we're gonna take the lid off and go 425. So see you in a minute. Bingo. All right, here we go. We started 20 minutes at 500 degrees in the Dutch oven. 10 minutes ago, I took the lid off. So the last 20 minutes, we cook it without the lid. But here's what I do. Oh my gosh, this is so sick. Look at that. Look at, that's called the ear. Do you see the little deals there? Now we're gonna let it brown up. We're gonna give it the last 10 minutes back in the oven without the Dutch oven. Because I feel like what happens when it finishes cooking in the Dutch oven, the bottom gets a little too finished. So we're gonna do another 10 minutes here until that's nice and golden brown the way we want it. Then our loaf's gonna be finished. All right, we're at the end here. Remember, we started at 500 degrees for 20 minutes in the Dutch oven. After 20 minutes, we pull the lid off. We leave it in the Dutch oven for 10 more minutes. It's turned down to 425 now. And then I cook it outside of it for another 20 minutes for another 10 more minutes, or until it's golden brown, just like that. And that's our loaf of bread there. Beautiful. That's what's called the ear. This was the slice we made so it could expand. And now you've got a sourdough loaf. You got little wheat things I cut in there. Sometimes they turn out, sometimes they don't, but there you go. That's how you make some bread. Sourdough.